Let's discuss this all. I'm joined by the Conservative MP, John Whittingdale. First of all, this controversial prorogation, as it's called, some saying suspending Parliament. Let's not be naive about this. It's clear that the government is trying to narrow the options and make sure that the rebels don't have as much time as they would have had to try and change the law.
Well, actually, Parliament was due to come back next Tuesday, as it will. We were then going to sit until the end of the following week, after which there was going to be a recess for the party conferences. That is the normal procedure each year for Parliament. The effect of the government's announcement that we're going to have a Queen's speech is that I think we will be in recess for maybe 3-4 days later. But the crucial period actually is not going to be in the next few weeks. The crucial period will come once we know whether or not Britain has got a deal. And that will be determined, I suspect, at the European Council on the 17th of October. Once that has taken place, then we will know if we have to ratify a withdrawal agreement or we will be leaving without a deal. And Parliament will be sitting throughout that time. So this idea that Parliament doesn't have an opportunity to debate these things is just not correct.
Do you agree with Ruth Davidson, who says that she has spoken to Boris Johnson and she is convinced that his priority is still to get a deal?
Yes, I do. I'm very sad that Ruth has decided to stand aside. I understand there are personal reasons as well as maybe some difference of view, but I think she's absolutely right in saying that. Boris Johnson, I know very well. I've talked to him. I think he wants to get a deal. All of us have always said we would prefer to leave the European Union with a deal than with no deal, but it has to be a deal which is in the best interests of this country, and that was why I couldn't support the agreement which was proposed by Theresa May. But I think that Boris has put forward an alternative, and the fact that Angela Merkel, for instance, has said that there is still a period in which we can seek to achieve agreement, I very much hope that that will be successful, because that is in the better interest than leaving without a deal. But I'm in no doubt that we have to leave on the 31st of October, whatever the outcome.
What's your message to your fellow Conservatives who are clearly determined to try once again to change the law, to force Boris Johnson to ask for a delayed Brexit?
Well, Boris Johnson won the leadership election on a very clear commitment that we should leave on 31st of October. It is what the majority of the British people voted for. It is certainly what the overwhelming majority of the Conservative Party wants to see. And I have to say that although there is a great deal of noise and protest going on in the last few days, it is from the people who basically don't want us to leave.
Actually, many of those did vote for the deal, which would have taken us out of the EU.
Well, you're talking about the MPs. I'm talking about the people who are protesting at the moment, and essentially they would much prefer that we weren't leaving. Now, the truth is that we did have a referendum in which the majority of people voted to leave. And I think if we fail to do so, now 3 years after that vote has taken place, then people would rightly feel that democracy was not being respected. And therefore, it was on that basis that Boris Johnson stood and became Prime Minister that he will deliver the decision that was taken now over 3 years ago.
Okay, John Whittingdale, thank you very much indeed.